Folks, super pumped today to walk through and do a quick overview for you on the brand new FN 509 carry pistol. So recently, FN released this design to the market. This is a 9mm full carry size, you know, the 4-inch barrel, 17+1 on the 9mm, and got a lot going for it. Lots of positives with its design. We've had a chance to take it out to the range, put a couple hundred rounds through it. Just gonna give you initial impressions, discuss whether or not this new FN is a good carry gun for you, or if there are other polymer guns, striker fire guns on the market that would be better suited for you. We're gonna discuss all that today and just give you a basic walkthrough of this firearm. So let's hit the range, see what it can do, and we'll break it down and discuss it. FN, we got all black, we got one or two strays. Real nice. That running gun. So great time at the range with this pistol, and now let's go ahead and break it down, discuss it. Clear, just to show you guys. And the FN 509 was really born out of FN's bid for the U.S. Army Modular Handgun System contract. Now, the SIG P320 and all of its variants won that bid and won that contract. I do have that on the table. I took it out for its first shoot the same day that we were doing the testing on the FN 509. So I will, at the end of the video, refer to some differences and what I noticed between these two firearms. So we will discuss that throughout this video. So you guys are really going to get a comprehensive overview and discussion on this gun today. So I just thank you for coming over here, checking us out. You know, we're not known necessarily for a lot of firearm videos, but we're wanting to get into a lot more of it. So let's go ahead and just begin to break it down. What you see basically is what you get, plus a lock and a felt case. I mean, that's it. You get the gun, you get two mags. Now, it's a 17+1 in the mags. There are also 10-round mag versions out there for those of you that live in states that require that. So that is a good bonus. Now, the firearm's weight is going to be 26.9 ounces, so that's its dry weight. Now, its barrel length is going to be 4 inches, so that's kind of the standard in this carry size. That's what this is called. It would be a carry. Now, right now, they're making this in 9mm. As time goes on, they may make this in some other calibers as well, but right now, as at release, it's a 9mm. Now, the overall length is 7.4 inches. And it does have a sight radius, and that's where we're going to kind of start at here. Really nice high sights. I really liked that aspect to the gun right out of the gate. It was not only just kind of its looks, you know, it looks very industrial. I liked its lines, its angles, and then the sights were very pronounced. The sight radius is 5.79 inches. So that is the sight radius. Very good sights, as I said. The standard will come with some luminescent paint, and then you can get a night sight version as well is out there. It was very easy for me to line up the sights, get them on target, so I appreciated that aspect to it. And to my knowledge, these have the exact same slits and cutouts as the P320. So that is something that is nice to know. So if you were going to get some aftermarket sights, as long as they fit the P320, from everything I understand, they will fit this gun as well. And I know that FN will have plenty of stuff as time goes on. You know, they're pretty good about getting their stuff out there on the market. And that will lead us to the barrel as well as just some accuracy. And that's something that I want to kind of touch on, is that the barrel has a 1 in 10 right hand twist. So a good twist through there on the firearm for a 4-inch barrel. Now the recoil is somewhat harsh. That's what I kind of discovered as I went through with this gun, is that the recoil was pretty sharp. I could definitely feel it more so than some of the other firearms that I have tested. And I don't know if that's related just to the balance points on the gun. It was just something that I noticed. It's not horrible, you know, it's not like you're shooting a 357 Magnum or 44 Magnum gun, not at all. But it was just harsher than my other 9mm, including the SIG P320. This handled the recoil that same day a lot better with the same rounds that we were shooting than the FN 509 did. So that was a little interesting to me, and because of that, it took a little bit longer for me to get the gun back on the target, because the shock and the recoil was just a little bit harsher. So that is something that I would note, is that when it comes to accuracy, I would say it's an accurate gun, and we had pretty good accuracy throughout the day as we were shooting, you know, hitting with running guns, you know, getting onto the black and the targets and that type of thing. But you're going to take, you know, an extra, you know, half a second to get your sight back on because of the slightly harsher recoil on the gun. So that is something to consider. Now, obviously, this is a striker fire, no hammer. You know, most of FN's guns have hammers, and I haven't used a lot of hammer design guns. I'm mostly a striker fire guy. That's just where I'm at right now. Things may change over time. So that's kind of the design. Double action trigger here, 2-stage. And that's one of the things we'll touch on first. What I noticed is that it has a very good trigger pull. In that sense, you know, there's not a lot of play, not a lot of travel. And then when we rack the slide, just to kind of show you guys here, that's the reset right there, and then another fire. So very short on the reset, which is nice. You know, there's not this huge amount of travel. Out of the box, the trigger was kind of gritty. You know, you could definitely feel it kind of go back to its firing position and get that round out the chamber. But as the day went on, and we put about 350 rounds through this thing, I began to notice that the trigger began to loosen up a little bit, get a little smoother. And so as time goes on there, I'm sure it'll get to a point where I'm pretty happy with the stock trigger out of the box. I wasn't really excited about the stock trigger on it, so it took a few hundred rounds to get it kind of broken in. So there will be a break-in period that I want to touch on just with the gun, and that's something that I noticed. The trigger pull, now the barrel itself is that Browning style, you know, it has that kick up. It has kind of a dual system on the recoil spring and the recoil pin there, so that, you know, it's going to get a really good strong snap when you hit that and release the slide. And the reliability was very good as well. That's something I want to touch on. We did shoot steel through this. We shot Winchester. We shot Perfecta. We shot some reloads. I mean, all kinds of different types of rounds through here. Didn't have a single jam, so that was really nice to see. No issues, no problems, no stovepiping, anything like that. So reliability is good. Now, FN claims, you know, that they put 1 million rounds when they were doing all their testing for this design. But that doesn't mean here or there. You can put 10,000 rounds through there. If it doesn't, you know, fire properly for me, then who cares? So that is something to note, though, is that I was pleased with its reliability. Now, one of the big selling points for this FN is the total ambidextrous features. Now, it does have on both sides ready to go. You don't have to do any swapping. You don't have to disassemble the firearm. Not only the slide lock and slide release, but also the mag release is going to be there, ambidextrous on both sides of the gun. And you can easily hit that left or right, and it's going to slam that slide down in an authoritative way. So that is nice to see. Now, as we're talking about those, I want to discuss pros and cons. Some things that I noticed that they did with the mag release and the slide release here are that the cutouts are a little interesting to me, and you would definitely have to get used to them. They're not necessarily bad, but you got to work around them. So you see here that there's this lip for the slide lock, and what that means is you really got to kind of play with it if you want to lock it into place when you're cleaning it or checking it, you know, or whatever. Now on the drop down, it doesn't cause any issues. It doesn't block what you're doing here, but you can see there that that lip is just there, and it's a little tricky to get around when you are trying to lock the slide into place. Releasing, again, no issue at all, but it's the locking. Honestly, I would take a Dremel tool and just slightly sand that down, disassemble the gun, just slightly sand that down to make it a little easier for me to engage the slide release if I want to do that. So that was a little interesting that they did that. I don't know why they did this little lip right here on the polymer piece of the gun. Now the second part is the mag release button. Now the mag release button is large, it's easy, and it's going to move, significantly on this other side here either way. But again, they've done these kind of like wells that in a way make it flush with the handle. So you really got to kind of roll it into place. Again, as the day went on, I got used to what I was doing, but out of the box, it was not super intuitive. And what tends to happen is that the mag button, mag release button, when you're hitting it, it will move into your middle finger when you're holding the gun. It'll kind of be there. So you got to almost like, I don't know, drop your finger slightly. It's not horrible, but you can see, okay, so I'm depressing it, and you can see I've really got to kind of kick the gun to get it to drop. Now, it got looser as the day went on, and if I use my thumb this way, it's not too big an issue, but if I'm trying to do more of like a roll in with my knuckle right here, it's really tricky to do. I've really got to press really hard, kind of move my finger out of the way, and it's somewhat counterintuitive unless you are training with it. So when you first pick it up, what I noticed was like, man, that's kind of tricky. I've almost got to like move the gun, kind of switch the handle and depress it to get that mag to release. Now it'll do it, but you can see it, and even in the action, you'll see once or twice, I kind of missed it and I had to hit it again. Now again, with training, I could get used to that, but that was something that was interesting to me to see versus, say again, this P320 here that does have that polymer lip that we were talking about, but it's way easier for me to engage the slide lock. I don't have to feel like I fight it. I don't feel like I would want to sand this off, this little polymer piece right there. It still protrudes. And on top of that, the button is super easy for me to engage because it sticks out away from the body. Now, pros and cons to that. That means in a firefight, in the heat of the moment, you're not going to accidentally hit this mag button and dump the mag by mistake. It's kind of hidden, and I don't know if that's kind of what they were going for or not, but that's something that I noticed is that you have to think about depressing this mag button. That is a positive. The negative is you're going to have to probably train a little bit, or may even, again, want to take a Dremel tool and just work around this slightly, and wear that down ever so slightly so you can better depress the button and not fight against this polymer well that's right here. So pros and cons to that. If you were asking me my personal opinion, I prefer this that's more pronounced, easier for me to just touch, grab, and the mag just dumps right out every single time. But again, I could accidentally bump that in a firefight in the heat of a moment or something like that and lose a mag when I still have rounds in there. So pros and cons to think about, what's important to you. Now, as we look at the gun in this direction, we're going to talk about ergonomics. Now, at this point, I like the trigger well. It's very large, right here. It doesn't look goofy or anything like that. There's lots of different texturing. Now, FN is known for kind of having aggressive texturing. Again, I'm just going to run in here. The SIG, lot of difference in the texturing there. Now, it's not painful by any means. I've had some other FNs and tested out some other FNs that are really brutal on the hands. This did not thrash my hands when I was shooting with it. So that is something to consider. They've kind of changed different texturings. There's 3 different texture points right here, and then these back strap and front straps. So that is something to consider. I definitely don't think you would need to put like Talon grips or anything like that. No way. And it gives you good traction without being overly brutal in your hands and really hurting your hands. I've shot some guns that are just like, man, this is so uncomfortable. I got to get like rubber grips around this or put, like a Ranger band or something to try and dial down the pain that this offers. Now, it will have a secondary back strap. This is just the standard one. There is a different one that they will offer to you as well. The thickness on the overall gun is 1.35 inches. So that is the width of the firearm. And from top to bottom, you're looking at 5.56 inches, which I wear large size gloves, and you can see there, fits very well in my hand. I still got plenty of room on the bottom to spare there because of its carry size, and gives me really good ergonomics in the hand. So that is one thing that I noticed, is that the ergonomics I didn't have any complaints with. Felt really good, really intuitive in my hand when I was firing. And again, the good sight picture makes it very easy to get on target. And that aspect to it, the ergonomics weren't my favorite when it comes to the mag release again and the slide release. So you do have your attachment rail, Picatinny rail up here. You got all kinds of different attachments you did see in some of the footage. Field stripping is very easy as well. All you got to do, lock your slide back. You got your tab right here, very easy to disengage. Walk the slide forward, pull the trigger, and I see that this is a well-built gun. It's almost kind of in conclusion to this, you know, what reminded me of the SIG in comparison, you know, and this is a SIG compact, it's not a SIG carry. The SIG compact is only 0.2 inches shorter than the carry in every other way. It's exactly the same. This is a 9mm as well. But the SIG was kind of like loosey-goosey, you know, like out of the box. This was the first time taking this guy out, and it was loosey-goosey, ready to go, not tight, felt wound too tight. And that's what I felt like the FN, not good or bad, I'm just giving you some reference points, that it felt kind of wound too tight. And that's what I felt with the recoil that we talked about a little earlier and some of the other aspects to the gun. Trigger was rough and had to get some work in before it loosened up. The mag releases as time went on, you know, got a little looser, but just really overall just kind of a tight feel, whereas the SIG P320 was really loose, ready to go, and not feeling overly tight, you know, wound too tight kind of a feeling, if that makes sense to you. We'll talk price here. Now I want to give a shout out to where I picked this up over at the Damage Factory. Those guys are awesome. They're a local spot in the Denver metro area. Go check them out if you live in the local Denver area. If not, they also have an online store that you can purchase firearms and do a lot of stuff that way. So check them out. We'll have a link in the description below over to the Damage Factory. Really cool guys. Small operation, and I love, you know, supporting local small operations. So cool guys over there. The MSRP is $650, but these are already going for just under the $600 price point, which again is right in line with like the carry and the compact versions of the SIG P320, what you're going to see in Glock 19s, which is all kind of in the realm of what this firearm offers. So there you have it, folks. Just kind of in conclusion, my final thoughts on the firearm. This is a very good gun. I like a lot of the aspects to it. Is it a perfect gun? No, it's not. There are some aspects that I would like to see different. I would do some little tweaking. I would take a little, you know, sander to some of this stuff here and, you know, disassemble the gun and really have to work on a couple aspects to it and really train with it to get super comfortable with the gun. I think the bottom line would be, if you like FNs, you're going to love this one. If you're new to FNs, to just know that you're getting a good quality gun, great sight pictures. It's a little harsh on the recoil, and you may have to do some initial stepping into some training, you know, take it to the range several times to really get a good feel for it, work it out, and as time goes on, you'll get really comfortable with the gun. So overall, I think it's a good offering to the market and a great competition to the P320 and to the Glock 19 and to the Smith & Wesson M&P series, but is it the one that's like the leading the charge? No, it's a good runner in the pack, in the wolf pack of those carry size 9mm firearms. So guys, thank you so much for coming over here today, checking out the channel. Please subscribe, comment, like, share this video. I'll answer any questions that you may have in the comments below. And also comment, you know, if there were some things that maybe you wanted to hear that I missed or that I didn't quite hit right, because I am new to reviewing the firearm side of things. We've done a few, but I really want to get into more. So if there are things that you guys want to hear about the particular firearms that maybe I didn't answer in this video, I'll answer in the comments, and I'll take into consideration for future videos when we do future gun reviews. So, and finally, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.